Unrest is growing in China over strict COVID-19 lockdown measures. Protests have broken out in several parts of the country, including in the Xinjiang region, where many people have been barred for leaving their homes for more than 3 months. Protests in the regional capital, Urumqi, came after an apartment block fire killed 10 people. Some residents say the restrictions on movement hampered rescue efforts. Growing frustration over the lockdowns, almost 3 years after the pandemic broke out, is increasingly putting Beijing's zero-COVID policy under pressure. Journalist Fabian Kretschmer is in Beijing under lockdowns restrictions himself. Fabian, good to see you. Tell us about the conditions you're dealing with right now.
Yeah, this afternoon, local time, my building got locked down. Why? Because one neighbor tested positive during the daily mass tests that we are facing already for many months now. And to give you an idea, I mean, my building has 25 floors, so one person is positive. That means we all have to stay inside the building. And lockdown, that means that we are physically prevented from leaving. If I go downstairs, then at the building entrance, there will be half a dozen people, members of the local neighborhood committee, and also health workers in full hazmat suits. And yeah, they built up a fence. If I want to, cross that line, they will get very unfriendly. So you're literally locked in your own home. And that's the fate that many Beijingers, or I mean, several hundred millions of Chinese in the country are facing right now. So I'm not the only one.
Right. And this, of course, is happening always very sudden. And you can only hope that your fridge is fully filled with everything that you need. I mean, any word on how long this might last?
I mean, this really unpredictability, that's exactly what makes us so mentally unnerving. You don't know how long it will last. The neighborhood committee who runs our residential compound also doesn't know. They won't give you any answer, so it could be 5 days. But who knows, if they discover another case, could be another 5 days. This could go on. And really, even if we are free and, everything is fine in 1 week, then, it's only a matter of time until we get locked down again. I mean, it's enough if only one person in the whole building tests positive again. So really you have a very deep sense of unpredictability. You cannot plan for the next week. And for me, I mean, I'm rather privileged, but I mean, all the migrant workers, if they get locked down, then they don't have much savings. So they really are under an existential economic threat here.
Right, and no wonder then these restrictions like those you're describing, they've been very frustrating for many people in China. Do tell us more about the events in Urumqi.
Yeah, that was really a very tragic incident. On Thursday night, a fire broke out. There was in a high-rise residential building on the 15th floor. And the claims are that, those 10 deaths could have been prevented if there was not a, excessive lockdown, because the rescue workers, they needed a very long time to get to the building because of all the fences, the restrictions of movement. Then also the people in the compound, they could not leave so easily because there were locks. Apparently the fire exit also is supposed to have been locked, and I mean, that's very credible. I've seen that in also quarantine facilities here, that the exit are really with an iron locked closed. So I mean, that's very tragic, and it's not the first time that people are dying because of the tragic side effects of those lockdowns. It's really sparked a lot of anger, and people in Urumqi they've gone to the streets, they've protested, and they do that under very, very great risk and under great danger. But still, they're so fed up, they have nothing to lose. They went on to the streets, and actually it helped. The next day, the local government said, okay, we're basically clearing up now and relaxing some of the restrictions.
And is this something that can be sustainable, the relaxation? I mean, how big of a challenge are these protests we're witnessing in China to the country's zero-COVID policy?
Yeah, the frustration is as high as it has never been before during the pandemic. If you go on social media, you see a lot of Chinese posting very critical statements, very critical videos, and also those who are actually not so political, or who are not so, or who are rather patriotic, but even they've had enough. And the censors are really at working overtime. You scroll through social media opening links, and the next morning everything is deleted. So it's really shows you something. And usually I would say that this anger on social media could also disappear soon. It has happened before, but nowadays, I mean, it's hard to see a light at the end of the tunnel, because even despite those really strong lockdowns, the cases are rising. Beijing is posting record high numbers. The country is also posting record high numbers, also already the fourth consecutive day. So, I mean, the restrictions will go on if the government doesn't change its course. But right now, they're really doubling down on zero COVID. So I don't see any solution for that. There's really a lot of frustration here.
All right, journalist Fabian Kretschmer there reporting for us from Beijing, himself in lockdown as well. Fabian, thank you so much.